the walls of Quebec City. These fortifications have stood for more than 300 years. Strengthened, expanded, and rebuilt over the centuries to protect the people within. They've been lined by cannons and patrolled by armed guards. They've withstood sieges and turned back armies. But those invaders aren't the only threat that has kept the people of Quebec up at night. There are other dangers said to have lurked in the darkness outside the city's stone walls. In 1766, the Gazette de Quebec reported that a werewolf was on the loose in the colony. This is Canadiana. It was far from the first loup-garou to terrorize Quebec. There have been sightings of werewolves in New France since the 1600s, and their roots went back even further than that. France had been fighting a werewolf epidemic since the late 1400s. Suspects were regularly tried, convicted, and burned at the stake. The creatures must have sailed across the Atlantic with the first French settlers who came to Quebec, or at least the stories about them did. When French settlers left Europe for Canada, they brought more than just supplies. They brought their folklore with them too, including tales of supernatural beasts. And here, on the very edge of their empire, living as strangers in an unfamiliar land, it must have been easy for those old fears to take hold. But in some ways, the Quebecois werewolves that terrorized French-Canadian settlers were different from the Hollywood beasts we're familiar with today. These werewolves were doomed to transform not just with the full moon, but every single night, sometimes for as many as 101 nights in a row. Most transformed into wolves, but others were condemned to a fate a little less cool, turning into dogs, cats, owls, cows, oxen. There were even some were-pigs. The loup-garou of 1766 had been stalking through the colony for years, and it might not have been a coincidence that the stories appeared during a particularly uneasy decade in the history of Quebec. The British had just conquered the French colony. The Battle of the Plains of Abraham was still a fresh memory. People were still getting used to life under the new regime. According to the Gazette's first report, the werewolf had been spotted outside Quebec City, heading in the direction of Montreal. It was in disguise as a beggar to better stalk its prey. The newspaper warned its readers to be careful. It is recommended to the public to be as cautious of him as it would be of a ravenous wolf. The Gazette openly worried that the loup-garou might even be as dangerous as the infamous beast of Gevaudan. For the last 3 years, the French countryside had been terrorized by an actual real-life wolf, or more likely, a pack of wolves, that tore out the throats of farmers and villagers. The beast of Gevaudan is thought to have killed more than 100 people in southern France. Eventually, royal troops were sent to the region to track down the wolf and kill it. Some people would later claim the beast was finally brought down by a hunter who shot the animal with a silver bullet. And the werewolf of Quebec wouldn't be easy to kill either. He roamed through the province for another year before the people of New France finally fought back. According to the Gazette, they organized a campaign of attacks against the beast, and in the autumn of 1767, they won a major victory. They set their dogs upon the werewolf over and over again, seriously injuring the monster. The newspaper reported that he received such a furious blow that it was thought they were entirely delivered from this fatal animal, as it soon after retired to its hole, to the great satisfaction of the public. It seemed as if the terror was finally over, but the victory against the werewolf was short-lived. Just a few weeks later, the monster was back, and now it was angry. In early December, the Gazette reported, this beast is not entirely destroyed, but begins again to show itself, more furious than ever, and makes terrible havoc wherever he goes. The paper gave a chilling warning. Beware then of the wiles of this malicious beast, and take good care of falling into its claws. But then the trail goes mysteriously cold. That, it seems, is the last of the Gazette's reports about the Werewolf of Quebec. He disappears without a trace. So maybe the story was nothing but superstition and rumor, an eerie folk tale told in an uneasy time. Or maybe the werewolf was just an ordinary animal that was eventually killed without much fanfare at all. But maybe you'd prefer to imagine there are still loups-garous out there somewhere to this day, stalking through the countryside and cities of Quebec.
There's another kind of mythical beast in Canada. There are unicorns all over our country. In fact, there's a good chance you have one inside your own home right now. I'll tell you more about that in a moment, but first I wanted to quickly thank you so much for watching. This is still just the beginning of our new season. We have lots more stories to share with you, but the editing and animating is a ton of work, so we do need your help. If you're able, you can support us through Patreon. There's a link below, and even a few dollars makes a big difference. You can follow us on social media at This Is Canadiana. You can help spread the word. You can also buy Canadiana merch. We've got some cool new stuff available, linked below, and we'll be adding more soon, so be sure to check back. If you like this video, you'll probably be interested in our other episodes. This season, we've already covered everything from pirates to lumberjacks to Cold War spies, so be sure to check those out too. Now, back to those unicorns. The history of unicorns stretches back 4,000 years, and for millennia, everyone from ancient Greek historians to Leonardo da Vinci seemed to have truly believed they were real. The magical animals were said to have healing powers and a soft spot for virgin maidens. They were also thought to be the natural enemy of lions. And since the lion had become a national symbol of England, the unicorn became a national symbol for one of the countries that had been fighting the English for years, Scotland. So, when Great Britain was created and England and Scotland were united, the lion and unicorn were united too. They both became part of the new royal coat of arms of the UK. In the years to come, that coat of arms and its unicorn would pop up in colonies across the British Empire, including in Canada. You'll still find those Scottish unicorns all over our country, from historic documents to old post office buildings. And that's not all. When Canada created our own coat of arms in the 1920s, we kept that old unicorn, so it's become an unlikely national symbol for our country too. In fact, when you travel the world as a Canadian, you take a unicorn along with you. It's right there on the front of your passport. Thanks again for watching. I'm Adam Bunch, and we'll see you next time on Canadiana.